Damon, a notorious womanizer, has decided to prove his friends wrong. He believes that he can convince any woman to marry him, after dating him for just 30 days. Unbeknownst to him, he has chosen the wrong woman as his target. All of the ladies are gathered in the living room to give the soon-to-be bride her gifts. Melanie is excited to open up her gifts as she sits in the center of the couch amongst her family and friends. The first gift she opens up is a lovely cutting board that has been engraved. Melanie flips it over and sees her name and the name Darren. Everyone immediately stops smiling and laughing. Her soon-to-be husband's name isn't Darren, but Robert. The lady who had gifted it to her stutters out that she must have gotten it for the last bridal shower she had. Everyone has secondhand embarrassment. Melanie's mom, Anna, makes a toast to Melanie, wishing her love and happiness. She is still off-put by the gift, so someone suggests that they should all play a game. Melanie's mom spins a wheel. The spinner lands on the section named Advice. Everyone says that she should have plenty of good advice. She agrees that after being married for over 30 years, she has collected plenty of good advice. She turns to Melanie and tells her to not overthink things, as she is often prone to do. She states that it is sometimes best to just take the plunge and act without thinking. Melanie's sister, Julie, leans over to Melanie and says that their mom isn't being very subtle. Melanie doesn't blame her, because this is already her third marriage. Robert is getting ready in the chapel and is shaking the priest's hand. Melanie's mom comes out of the limo, while Melanie is picking at some of the flowers in her bouquet. She isn't sure if she really loves Robert, and asks how her mother knew that Gord was the one. Her mom says that love grows and changes as they get older, and that she didn't know if Gord was the one until she married him. That doesn't comfort Melanie that much. As Melanie comes up to the aisle, her dad jokes that third time's the charm, and chuckles a little. Walking down the aisle, Melanie smiles at all the people gathered for her wedding. Robert is grinning at her as she comes up to him. Melanie turns to face the crowd. Robert doesn't know what is happening, but Melanie's mom does. She is shaking her head no, asking her daughter to not run away again. Melanie looks sad as she softly whispers no and runs back down the aisle. She runs past the limo and limo driver. As she does, she tosses the bouquet to the limo driver. Melanie climbs into the back of a taxi and drives off. Back at her apartment, Melanie is talking with her sister. Melanie starts babbling about how they should expand their business into whole foods and snacks to sell after their yoga classes. She tells her sister to not feel sorry for her, but for Robert. She wonders if there is something wrong with her for breaking up 3 engagements. Despite her sister's protests, she has decided to not date again. No more dating, engagements, and anything else to do with men. Will lines up his ball and rolls it down the lane, making a perfect strike. He tells Damon to pay up, as he is taking off his bowling shoes. He tells the group that he has to go home and help his wife with some wallpaper. Damon calls him whipped, and everyone laughs. Will says that he isn't surprised that Damon is making fun of married people. Damon wants to know what he means by that. Will laughs and says that he isn't surprised, because Damon could never get married. Women see what type of man he is, and know that he isn't the marriage type. Damon is offended, and thinks that he could marry someone if he wanted to. Will lays down a bet. If he can convince a woman to marry him, within a month, he will give one of the bigger contracts over to him, with all of the perks that come with it. The biggest one right now is the one with the company Juicy Cola, and one of the other players complain that he holds that contract. Will says that as his boss, he can give the contract to Damon if he wants to. Damon doesn't think that it is possible. Will agrees and uses reverse psychology to convince him to agree to the bet. He says that since Damon has already lost one bet, of course, he would be gun-shy with yet another bet with him. Finally, Damon agrees to the bet. Melanie is at the local market, browsing the stalls, when she runs into Robert. He barely glances at her at first, until she starts trying to apologize. Melanie accidentally compares him to a sturdy weed, while trying to say that he will get through this. Robert looks at her funny, and she tries to backpedal, saying that he is a manly flower with thorns. Manly thorns. Finally, he interjects and compares himself to a perennial flower. He says that like a perennial flower, he will always come back. She is shocked at what he is implying. He still wants to try and win her back. Melanie tries to tell him that at first, she was unsure if she wanted to marry him, but now she is sure that she doesn't. He doesn't take that as an answer and assures her that he will win her over. She tries to give him the engagement ring back, but he tells her to keep it, because she will need it again. Melanie, too frustrated to deal with him any longer, leaves the market and heads home. Damon is at work, presenting an advertisement for a company that hired him. Apparently, the company liked it enough to take the contract. Will congratulates him on a job well done. Not everyone could sell dental work as good as he did. Damon is frustrated that they didn't give him any feedback while in the meeting. Just as he was about to continue, one of the guys walks past him, with the flyers and posters for the Juicy Cola Company. They landed a deal as well. Will asks Damon how finding a woman was going for him. Damon complains that there aren't many that would help him win the bet. Will gestures to one of the ladies at the front desk of the building. Damon laughs and says that he is at least 10 years older than the last man that she dated. Will suggests that he can find one at the event launch, happening later that night. Melanie and her sister head to the launch party in hopes of expanding their yoga business. The party is the perfect place to meet other like-minded business owners and advertisement companies. Julie likes the idea of expanding the business, despite Melanie saying it was the ramblings of a depressed woman. Julie leaves Melanie by a juice bar and starts exploring. Will comes up to Melanie and starts flirting with her. Melanie tries to shut him down, but can't get a word in. Julie comes in just in time to tell him that Melanie isn't interested. Not only is she not interested in specifically dating him, but any male, for that matter, and just came out of a messy breakup. He is shocked, to say the least. He stutters a bit and excuses himself. Will finds Damon and asks if he has found someone. Damon hasn't and doesn't hold any hope to do so. Will states that he has found the perfect one for him. He points to Melanie. Damon agrees that she is cute and goes up to her. He watches as she pours a green drink into a plant pot. He lays it on thick for her, trying to get a date. The conversation eventually leads to jobs, and he says that he is an advertising agent. She states that she and her sister are here for scoping out potential additions to their yoga studio and personal training business. He suggests meeting up Alter to discuss some potential business prospects, and she is visibly reluctant to accept. Before she can refuse his offer, her sister cuts her off and accepts on her behalf. As one of their yoga classes ends, Melanie asks her sister why she was so eager for her to meet up with that guy. She is convinced that he lied about being an advertising agent, just so he has an excuse to meet up with her. Julia shows her his website on her laptop, showing that he is, in fact, an agent. She decides to wear her old engagement ring, just to be safe. She gets to his apartment, and it is definitely a bachelor pad. There are magazines splayed across the table. She makes sure to hold the hand with the engagement ring on it in front of her face so he sees it. She says that she didn't wear it the night of the launch because it's a little loose and she doesn't want to lose it. She lies and says that she is still engaged. Damon asks if she has eaten, and she says yes. He looks a bit disappointed, but he has also already eaten. When she asks what he had for breakfast, she is shocked to learn that he eats chocolate cereal every day for breakfast. She looks inside his fridge, only to find nothing but old takeout boxes. She takes one out to throw it away and gets some of its contents on her hand. As she is washing her hand in the sink, the ring falls off into the garbage disposal. Melanie freaks out and begs him to find it. He sighs and starts working on the pipe under the sink. She starts rambling and accidentally lets him know that she is no longer engaged. Melanie apologizes for lying and states that she is trying to return the ring to her ex-fiancé. Damon finds the ring and hands it to her. She profusely thanks him and gives him a list of ingredients to get from the grocery store, as well as a few recipes. She leaves, feeling even more embarrassed. At her parents' house, she helps Julie mail out invites for their parents' 30th anniversary. Their dad appears and asks about what they are doing. He is flabbergasted that they invited so many people when it was supposed to be a small gathering in the garden. Speaking of the garden, Melanie's mom says that Robert was over and helped trim the garden for the event. She is glad Melanie hasn't given the ring back and holds out hope that she is still going to marry him. Melanie still plans on giving the ring back. Her mom grins and says that since none of her girls want to get married, she will. At the girls' confused glances, she says that she and Gord will be renewing their vows during the party. She wants to show them how special getting married can be. Near the end of their yoga class, Damon walks in, loudly talking on his phone. He notices that the class is already in session and hangs up. He places his mat on the floor and tries to imitate the other people in the class. He isn't nearly flexible enough to do some of the poses, so he chooses to make fun of them. The class ends and he waits for Melanie to pack up. He asks if this is where they do all of their classes. Julie says that they are looking to expand into a bigger space. He doesn't like that idea. Damon thinks that the homey vibe they have is precisely what works for them and what he would be focusing on if they hired him as an agent. Melanie is curious to know if he got the groceries. Damon would, if only he knew what some of them were and where to get them. He wants Melanie to take him shopping so he knows where to get them next time. Melanie does not want to spend time with him and offers to buy them for him and have them shipped to his door. He insists that she takes him with her. She begrudgingly agrees. As they finish up their conversation, Robert shows up and he invites Melanie to run a marathon with him. He is still trying to convince her to get back with him. It is extremely awkward for everyone in the room. At the market, Melanie shows Damon some of the veggies from the grocery list. Damon has no idea how to prepare them and suggests that she shows him some other time. She tells him that instead, she will provide an accurate and detailed recipe to follow so he can't mess it up. He doesn't really know how to cook, no one taught him. His mom was always working, and his dad wasn't around. He ordered pizza a lot as a kid. Melanie tells him her favorite type of pizza, extra cheese, double the meat, olives, and mushrooms. They bond a bit over their shared love for olives as a topping. He asks if that was Robert, her ex-fiancé, back at the studio. She nods and says that he wasn't good at getting the hint, despite her leaving him at the altar. He confesses that he believes that everyone has a soulmate out there. She is in disbelief and asks if he has ever found the one. He pointedly looks at her and says that he is still looking. They go to the fruit section next. Damon accidentally knocks over a pile of apples and starts picking them up from the ground. Melanie bumps into her first ex-fiancé, Justin. He asks her some questions and walks away. Damon is astonished to find out that she has been engaged not once, but 3 times. He offers to drive her home, but she wants to walk home. She didn't get her normal run-in this morning. Damon and his work buddies are all sitting outside the office, eating, while he discusses this new development. He still can't believe that she has been engaged 3 times and didn't go through with any of the marriages. His friend asks if he knows the reason behind it. He doesn't want to ask about it because he is afraid that she might be the problem. He is wondering if there is something wrong with her. One of his friends suggests that he try to get to know her better. He says that girls love it when you pretend to be interested about things they like. Damon jokes that the only thing they talked about is how they both like olives. They laugh at how deep his conversations with her have been up to this point. During the physical assessment, Melanie makes Damon go through a series of tests. She tests his core strength, arms, and balance, as well as a few others. It gets to the point where they are just goofing around. During one of the competitions, Damon pushes Melanie, trying to test her balance. She falls down and injures her knee. Damon makes her sit on the couch and puts ice on it. She says that she is fine, but knows that she needs to rest her knee for a little bit. They agree to have pizza for dinner and get one with olives on it. Damon is openly staring at her as she eats her pizza. He is pleasantly surprised by her and wasn't expecting to actually enjoy her company. They start talking, and she mentions how close she is with her family. He tells her about his parents' divorce and how his mom worked a lot, but always had time to eat chocolate cereal with him for breakfast. He says that he remembers her mentioning something about the Scouts. When she confirms that she was indeed a Scout, Damon gets excited and runs to grab a photo album. He opens it up to show photos of himself as a Scout. He loves the memories that the photos bring. The boys he grew up with were like brothers to him. With a grin, he suggests ice cream for dessert, despite it not being healthy. She says that as long as it has whipped cream on it, it is a good source of calcium. Melanie is helping Julia set up the backyard, while telling her about the knee injury. Her sister firmly believes that there is something going on between Melanie and Damon. If there isn't, there definitely should be, in her opinion. Melanie thinks that even if they did like each other, which they don't, he has severe commitment issues. She tells Julia about his parents' divorce and how she thinks that made him develop a fear of marriages. Their mom comes into the backyard with a box full of things. Amongst the things is the cutting board from her bridal shower, and she fixed it. Instead of it saying Darren, it now says Robert. Melanie rolls her eyes at it. Her mom pesters Melanie about Damon, trying to find out who he is. Melanie immediately tries to escape her, choosing to help Julie instead. Standing outside of the work office, Damon and his buddies start talking about the bet. Damon is gushing about how flexible and strong she is. He is blown away by her. The men look at each other and smirk. They know that he has feelings for her and won't admit it, not even to himself. Melanie is at the community center helping the Scout girls to get their friendship badges. In order to do this, she has placed all the materials needed for the friendship bracelets. All the girls are excited and rush to the table. All but Avery. She is a shy and quiet girl. She is sitting at a table by herself in a saddened state. Melanie tries to convince her that she needs to try and mingle with the other girls and make friends. Avery wonders what the point is, considering she has no friends to give a bracelet to. Disheartened, Melanie walks away from her and stands up to watch the whole group. As she is observing the girls while they work, Damon walks into the community center. He joined the Scouts as a volunteer, under her supervision. She explains what they are doing and points out Avery. Avery has had problems making friends and is being bullied at school. Damon walks over to her and charms her into making a bracelet with him. Now that she is being active and actually making a bracelet, Damon walks back to Melanie. Looking back at the kids, she tells them that it is time to earn a different badge. She grabs a bucket and tells them that they are going to clean up the park. Damon asks Melanie how many badges she got while she was a Scout. He is impressed that she got 21, while he only managed to get 18. He was in the middle of getting his leadership badge when his parents divorced. He chose to stay with his mom to help her out. Melanie is impressed that he decided to stay with his mom to take care of her. She looks at the kids and yells that it is tag time. They run around, giggling. Damon is having fun playing with the girls and is laughing along with them. Melanie stares at Damon, entranced, and almost doesn't notice Robert showing up at the park. He is carrying a box of flowers and is frowning at Damon. Melanie excuses herself to go see what he is doing there. He landed a landscaping job for the park and was getting started today. He has no clue why Damon is with the girls though, and asks Melanie about it. Damon says that she inspired him to help out, since he also used to be a Scout. Robert is suspicious, especially since he is with the Girl Scouts and not the boys. Robert starts making Melanie uncomfortable by asking when they can go on a date. She thinks she has made it perfectly clear that it is over between them and doesn't want to be with him. As she is struggling to make this clear to him, Damon starts hatching a plan with the girls. Soon, she is surrounded by girls, saying that it's her turn to chase them. She tells Robert that they will talk later. Damon is glad that his plan has worked. She looks really uncomfortable talking to Robert. He decides to follow his friends' advice and dig deeper into Melanie's past. He wonders how she knew that the men weren't the ones for her. She has known from the beginning of each relationship, but felt pressured into saying yes each time. The first one asked her to marry him over the speaker system in a store, the second, while he was presenting the weather segment for the news, and the third during a packed spin class. He is starting to understand that she is not the problem. She didn't plan on hurting anyone, she just didn't want to upset everyone by saying no. Melanie is at home for taco night with her family when she notices how fancy her sister is dressed. Her sister is off to go on a date with a guy from their running group. She wishes her sister good luck as she runs out the door. Damon is trying to do one of Melanie's easy step-by-step recipes. He gets the chicken in the oven and the veggies on the pan, but forgets about them. He gets too distracted, watching TV, and doesn't remember his food until the smoke sets off the alarm. He calls Melanie and she invites him over for taco night. He is grateful because he doesn't want to order takeout again. Melanie's mother is instantly suspicious of Damon. She thinks that Melanie invited him over as a date. Melanie's mom still wants her to marry Robert. Damon tells her mom about his failure in the kitchen. She tells him that he is welcome to help her make the tacos. Melanie is impressed by Damon's taco making skills. He says it's all due to her mom's directions. Cord tells Damon about how Melanie got the nickname Rue. Melanie has been telling Damon that it's from being springy on the basketball court. Cord tells him it is because she bounces away from the aisle before anyone says I do. This makes Melanie uncomfortable, and she leaves to go put the dishes away. Melanie's mom has left some photos on the table, and Damon starts looking at them. He picks up a photo from one of Melanie's previous wedding days. She looks stunning, and he can't keep his eyes off of the photo. Damon agrees to play a bit of basketball, and they are all outside when Robert shows up. Melanie accuses her mom of meddling and asks why she would invite him. She apologizes, and Robert joins in on playing basketball. Soon, the only ones still playing are Damon and Robert, both trying to one-up the other. At one point, they reach a tie and make a bet. Whoever can score from the end of the driveway wins. They each place an item for the bet. Robert chooses a Lakers championship ring. Damon chooses his fancy watch. Robert, not so subtly, rubs it in Damon's face once he wins. Damon doesn't like the fact that he agreed to the bet and apologizes to Melanie. He doesn't turn down bets as often as he feels he should. At the office, Damon tells Will that the bet is off. He doesn't care if he doesn't get in on the juicy soda contract. He doesn't want to be the one who takes away Melanie's belief in love. He says that with all she has gone through, he doesn't want to be another thing that she has to go through. He kind of admits that he likes her, and Will is impressed by him a bit. Will tells him that he will have to take the granola bar contract instead, and Damon says that it is fine by him. Melanie is helping the scouts at the community center when Damon walks in. All of the girls, except for Avery, are dancing to get their dancing badges. They are having loads of fun as Melanie is going through the dance moves with them. Damon goes over to Avery and gets her to dance with him. Soon, he calls everyone's attention to Avery as she dances on the stage. All of the girls are impressed with how well Avery can dance. They all start crowding around her. Melanie is still staring at Damon as he is walking to her. On an impulse, she grabs his face and kisses him. They both look with wide eyes at each other in disbelief at what just happened. She blushes and walks away from him. At home, she runs into her sister, who has great news. KLP Morning Show wants them to be on their show, thanks to Damon's press kit. Julie wants to thank him somehow. Melanie tells her about the kiss. She finally comes clean and admits that Damon is the one for her. She loves him, and she is sure that he is the one she wants to marry. Julie says that since she is so used to being put on the spot, she should put him on the spot and propose to him. Damon tells Will about the kiss while playing basketball. He admits that he loves her and that he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. The kiss felt magical to him, but now Melanie is ghosting him. He doesn't know what to do. Today is badge day for the scouts. Melanie is passing out badges when Avery whispers something to her. Damon is curious what they are whispering about. Avery hands Damon a leadership badge. The girls are saying goodbye and leaving. He thanks Melanie for the badge and tries to mend things with her. He promises to not be another thing she has to worry about. Melanie is frustrated and blurts out her proposal. He doesn't know how to answer at first. He did not expect her to ask him to marry her. He eventually says yes after the shock wears off, and they share a sweet kiss. Melanie tells her mom about the proposal. Her mom is still holding out hope for Robert, but listens anyway. She thinks that what she did is impulsive and unreasonable. Melanie begs for her mom's help with the wedding and finding a dress. She wants everything to be perfect this time around. Robert is spying on Damon and his group of friends. He hears as they talk about the bet that was made and how Damon called it off. Damon admits that he loves Melanie and wants to be with her forever. Robert decides to go to Melanie's house to tell her what he heard. He wants to protect her. Melanie is crushed when she hears what Robert has to say. She doesn't believe him and thinks he is trying to ruin her relationship. She runs over to Damon's workplace to ask him about it. He is talking to his friends when she arrives. She confronts him about the bet and ends the relationship. She is heartbroken over what he has done. Back at home, she is gloomy when her dad approaches her. She is getting everything ready for the anniversary party, while he tells her how he met her mom. He was fighting for her attention, and both he and his best friend loved her. His friend gave him a chance on the basis that if she said no, all bets were off. He ends by saying that the circumstances of how you met don't influence how you feel. True love is true love. They tenderly hug as he walks away. Melanie gives Robert his engagement ring back. She is ready to be done with him. He still holds out hope for them. She declares that he deserves someone who loves him as much as he loves her and walks away. Damon happens to run into Melanie's mom at the market. She tells him that Melanie is miserable and that she truly loves him. It is the day of the party and everything is ready. Melanie congratulates her parents after they renew their vows. As she hands the bouquet to her mom shakes her head. She says that she should keep it and looks in the back where Damon is. She angrily stomps to him down the aisle. She accuses him of being a jerk and tells him to leave before he ruined her parents' party. He begs her to forgive him and gets down on one knee. In his hands is a wedding ring. He proposes to her, but tells her that there's no pressure for her to accept. She looks over his shoulder and sees that all of the scout girls are there. He wanted to make sure there were enough flower girls. She says yes, and her father walks her down the aisle for the fourth and final time. This time she says, "I do," and seals the deal with a kiss.